I have lost count of how many times when I had gut symptoms as I was in the journey, the process for being diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome with IBS. I'm thinking back, 20 plus years now, but going back in time, how many times I went to the doctors or specialists or whatever, and I didn't have a clue. Knowing what I know now, looking back, I didn't really have a clue. There seems to be a lot of grey matter around it all. People certainly do, patients, when they're not really knowing what to say. I didn't know what to say. I've got gut issues. I've got loads of wind. I've got bloating. I've got diarrhea. That's it. But there's so much more. There's so much more. And my wife sat down and I said to her, how many times, how many patients, how many clients have you had, with IBS that have spent countless hours, and I'm talking countless hours. I mean, how long does it take to drive from wherever you are, your place of work, and you've got to get time off, to drive to the doctors or to see a specialist, to start talking to them about your gut issues, your health, and then maybe it goes okay, maybe it doesn't, maybe you've got to go back again and again and again and again. And I see it all the time. It happens all the time. So I want to nip this in the bud today for you. I'm going to nip it in the bud for you. CharlieJeane has put together a document which I'm going to share with you on this video. If you're listening to it on the podcast channel or if you're watching it on YouTube, then I'm going to share this with you. It's a giveaway. Black Friday today, I think it is. I think it ends up being Black Friday, ends up being about 3-4 weeks now anyway, because people are just trying to sell stuff all because it's Christmas nearly. So call it what you will. All right, it's our gift to you, pre-Christmas gift or whatever. You can watch the video if you want to just dive straight into it and download it now whilst you're watching the video, so then you can see it on your phone or on your iPad, or your device, your Android, etc. Then do that. That might be helpful as well, depending on what you want to do. So the link, if you're in the podcast channel or on the YouTube channel, is in the description. So just go to the description and I'll put it on there. It's the 11 secrets to help you get a speedier and accurate IBS diagnosis. Right. If you've already got an IBS diagnosis, stay where you are. Don't go anywhere, please, because a lot of people, there might be still some grey areas. You might have not got a correct diagnosis. You might have gone there and missed a few things, and I'll share a couple of things now with you, and then you can download this. As I've said, it's free of charge. There's no strings attached. There is no strings attached. It's not like you're going to download it and then and there's going to be this going on and that going on and loads of marketing emails. There's none of that today. Download it today, and obviously whenever you get round to watching this video, clearly. Right, let's dive straight in. So, quick story for you. So I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to get in the DeLorean, in the time machine, and we're going to go back in time. So when I was going through this process, I was lucky, as you know, for those that know my story, I was lucky enough when I was going through the diagnosis process to be in a relationship with CharlieJeane. She's obviously now my wife and business partner, and it made things a lot easier, a lot more seamless, as you will. But prior to that, I didn't have a clue. I'm trying to think back. I've been for, and you're probably the same. I've been for this check-in, that check-in, and I just didn't have a clue. I did not have a clue. And I wish now, it's what that famous saying, I wish I had this in my hands now. I wish I had this back then. I really do, because this, there we are. Okay, so that's the cover. It's a one-pager, it's a one-page document, and we're going to get to the next page in a second. I wish I had that with me, because it would have saved me a lot of time. It would have put my mind at ease. So there's two things straight away. And ultimately, if you're paying privately as well, a lot of people decide, they pay private, whether in the United States, Canada, even in the UK, you can pay for private consultations. We work with private clients that pay us a lot of money to help them. So if I'd have had this then, it would have put my mind at ease, and it could save you a lot of money as well. So if you're paying for your consultations, is what I was going back slightly. If you're paying for your consultations, you don't want to be wasting more money, do you, than you need to? Like going there, spending a couple of $100 on a consultation, then having to get home, remember what's being said. Maybe you didn't ask the right questions, or you didn't ask certain things, and it maybe went sideways, or you felt it wasn't enough. And then you've got to go again and spend another couple of $100. How many did it take to maybe get it right? So it'd be better, I feel anyway, for you. And I wish I had this when I was younger, that I could have had this just to read through. And it's free. It'll take you 20-30 seconds to skim read it, and then maybe have a little think about it. and you can have it. The reason we've done it electronic is everybody's got the phone with them nowadays. We all have a phone or a device. If you're a businessman, a senior management, etc., you might carry your iPad around with you or your tablet. So we've always got something, haven't we? Get it on your phone and have your phone with you when you go to the doctors, and then you can just pull out your phone. Don't commit to memory. I've got a really good memory in terms of like photographic memory. I can remember documents and this, that, the other, but even then you forget. And it's just, even if you forget one thing, that could be a really, really important piece of information for the doctor, for your GP, your MD, to get the right diagnosis and for you to get the right things, the right management system moving forward, as the correct referrals, etc. Happy with that? So that's around about that. So obviously back then when I was younger, I didn't have any of this. And I said to Charlie, we were sat down, and I said, look, what could you do? What could we do? But I say we, the royal we. What could you do, CharlieJeane, because he's the expert with IBS, the dietitian. I said, what could you do that could save professional, busy husbands, dads, flipping men, time and hassle, and also put your mind at ease, potentially save them some money to getting them the outcome a lot quicker. And what we're talking about now is pre-diagnosis, but we're also talking about if you've self-diagnosed. And we're also talking about if you've got a diagnosis a long time ago, was it correct? I don't know. So having a read through this, could be some red flags, and you might be like, I didn't discuss that with the doctor. I didn't ask that question, or perhaps we didn't talk about X, and we're going to go through a few things now, but not all of them. So there's 11 secrets on there. There's 11 things on there. We joked around with CharlieJeane when she was putting this together. She said, and you've heard the saying, if I got £1 or $1 for every time I got asked that, I'd be a millionaire by now. And I said, and it was like, epiphany. There we are then. Why don't you, say we, put something together for our followers, men that are out there, to help them out? And this is what I keep saying we, she came up with. I take no credit for this whatsoever. It's a one-pager. Okay, nice and easy. You can get these on your phone, obviously, as well. And you can just rattle through them. Read them before you go in. There's a few things that I'm going to read. I talk about a couple of things, but I'm not going to keep you here all day and discuss all 11. You can have a look at them. If you've got any questions on this document, feel free to, you can drop us an email at hello@mensibsmastery.com. There's a link in the description as well. So you can drop an email and ask us a question. No problem at all. No problem at all. I want to help you. I want to help you, save you the time, the hassle, the heartache that I had to go through before I met CharlieJeane and did it properly. And countless men that I see out there that are in, they're stuck. Because IBS is horrible. But is it IBS? This is pre-diagnosis, or is it a correct diagnosis? So we were sat down, as I said before, back to the story. We sat down, and she said, yeah, about the, if I got £1 for every time I got asked that, I'd be a millionaire. So it's like, CharlieJeane had an epiphany. I'm going to put a document together, and I'm going to pull out it ended up being 11, the 11 things that they must be spoken about. They must be at least considered and discussed around with a GP to get the best outcome. And this is how this document came about, guys. It is literally for that reason. Okay, so one of the things that I like on here, I'm going to go to skip a few, but number 2 is about eating gluten. So many people feel that, especially nowadays, that gluten is the enemy. Bread and pasta and all this stuff. Gluten is the enemy. It's trending. You can't eat gluten. It is gluten. I see it all the time. I've seen it in, as I said before, in previous videos that I've shared. When I was group expert or admin, as you will, an assistant in various IBS Facebook groups that I've been in internationally, it would be the thing that I would see all the time, whether it was women, men, mainly women that are like, and it was talking about gluten. Gluten is the enemy. Do not eat bread. Don't eat gluten. I've stopped eating gluten, and it's a game changer. And I used to say, okay, that's really good. That is awesome. Have you got celiac disease? Have you been tested for that? Don't know. Probably not. Okay, right. You can't eat gluten. Has that got rid of all your symptoms? Are you now pretty much symptom free with your IBS? Well, no. I still get bloating. I still get flare ups, unpredictable, and they're just crazy at times and stuff. Right. So you're still suffering under the dark cloud of IBS, and it's affecting your life. Yeah. So it's maybe not gluten then. Oh yeah, but I've been told gluten, and do you see what I mean? I'm not saying gluten doesn't cause problems, because it absolutely does. It's got its right place and time. For example, if you've got celiac disease, if you get tested for celiac disease, gluten's going to be the enemy. It's going to be public enemy number one. So the thing with gluten is, and again, it's on the it's on the check sheet, is you've got to have it in your diet when you go for that diagnosis. So many people that don't eat it because they've not been eating gluten, because, and I get it, they think that it's causing horrible symptoms. Maybe they think it's causing explosive diarrhea, or it's blocking them up. I don't know. Everybody's got different beliefs. So they stop eating it, and they don't have gluten in their diet for weeks, months on end. And then they go for the IBS for a diagnosis. They have their bloods taken. They're going through the process of getting a diagnosis. And of course, during that process is your doctor, when they send your bloods off to the hospital, should be getting checked for, obviously, as well as things like cancer. You should be getting checked for inflammatory bowel disease. And one of the things is they should be checking for celiac disease. Now, how can they get a result for celiac disease if you haven't had gluten in your diet? The answer to it is they're not gonna. It's gonna be an incorrect result. So it could come back as brilliant. You have not got celiac disease. And again, it's in here. It's getting that diagnosis, and then you can rule out, or the doctor can rule out, celiac disease. Because if it is that, it's more medical. It's going to take a different method, a different line of approach than IBS. Does that make sense? I'm trying to keep it super simple. So that's one that I love on there. I wish I didn't know that until I met CharlieJeane. I did not know that. Now, fortunately for me, when I went for my diagnosis, and I've never missed gluten, because back in 2003 when I contracted IBS and moving forwards, I'd never even heard that gluten was an issue. Whereas I think nowadays, it's especially due to all the whether you're on Facebook group, whether you're in another social media platform, Twitter, it doesn't matter. People are just, it's trending talking about gluten. So it's more, I guess, widespread now that gluten is public enemy number one. Does that make sense? So hope that helps. That's going to help you massively. I think it's going to be a game changer. If you're watching this and you've already got a diagnosis of IBS, you're like, Glenn, I've already got a diagnosis. Think to yourself and be honest with yourself. Was you skipping gluten out, bread and pasta and all that jazz, up to the point of having that diagnosis? If the answer is yes, and if you are still getting dramas, massive symptoms, issues, perhaps go back to the doctor with, now obviously armed with your secrets, and say about the gluten and have gluten in your diet, etc., and get it done again, because you might have celiac disease. But another one that I like on here is about, which people normally miss out, is things like about your family history. Has anybody else in your family got it? You know, which is point number, if you've got the download, you'll see it's number 5. Has anybody else got anything, like your mum, your dad, have they got inflammatory bowel disease? Has your mum got celiac disease? Did your grandma, do you know what I mean? So there's a discussion around that which we don't tend to talk about when we're at the doctors. They might ask you, but remember, doctors are tired and doctors are limited to what time they've got, especially here in the UK. And America's probably the same, and Canada, but here in the UK it's crazy. Especially if you're in National Health Service. If you pay private, brilliant, you're probably going to get this quicker. If you're in Dubai, the healthcare system, again, is private, it's going to be phenomenal. But here in the UK, certainly if you're watching this, you'll know, you'll feel the pain if you've been through the process like I had many, many moons ago, that it is a lengthy process. I mean, now, I think the wait time to see a gastro is crazy. It's like anywhere, it can be like a year, 8 months, 12 months, waiting list. Get private, guys. Private is the way forward. So that's going to be something to discuss about. That's point 5. And then I'll do one more. The other one that I love is asking your doctor questions. How many times do you go to doctors? Bit panicky because you think, oh, I hope I haven't got the big C, and clearly, and I hope it's nothing too serious, or, you know, I don't get any kind of bad news, etc. Or, I don't know, just a bit embarrassed. We get embarrassed, don't we? Us men. It's like, meant to be hardcore. We're meant to be hard, aren't we? Like, yeah, I'm blooming a dad. You know, I've got kids, I've got 3, 4, 5 kids, whatever that looks like. I'm the man of the house, the breadwinner. I'm the senior manager. For me, when I had it, I was a junior commander in the army. I'm a soldier. The last thing we want to be doing is talking about toilet habits to the doctor. Especially if the doctor's a woman. Gets even trickier, doesn't it? Right. it's taboo subject, it seems. But how is that best serving you? It's not. If you miss things out, you could miss something really important for your health moving forward. So that could affect you. It could affect then obviously the consequences there is it affects your family, it affects work if you don't get this sorted out quickly the first time. If it affects work or your business, that then affects your finances, your money coming in. So your wealth is affected, how much money you can earn, the potential, energy. You know what it's like. If you're watching this, you've got IBS, you know exactly where I'm coming from. The consequences in all different areas can get pretty horrific pretty quick. So this is going to harm me. I'm not going to go anymore. Download it. The link's below. It's totally free. Just grab a copy. That's all I'm saying to you. It's going to be a game changer. And what's the worst could happen? You stick your email in, you get it, you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. So yeah, go get a copy now. It could be a game changer. That's it. Listen, if you've got any questions on any of that, if you're struggling, even if you've pre-diagnosed this, and we've got a Facebook group called IBS in Men. It's a small, tight-knit, confidential, private group. Just go on Facebook and search IBS in Men. You'll find it. And if you click my link in bios, if you're on YouTube or the podcast, I'll put a link at bios. All my socials are on there. I was going to say Happy Thanksgiving if you're in America. That was yesterday. So Happy Thanksgiving from yesterday if you're watching this from the United States. And it's the end of the month nearly, isn't it? It's Friday the 29th of November today, Black Friday. And it's pretty much the end of November, which was Movember here in the UK. Movember, for raising awareness for men's health. So I think that's probably, I think you'll agree, a nice way to end the month of men's health awareness. We've done quite a lot of videos, a lot of content, this based around men's health, mental health, physical health, etc. And I think that's hopefully going to be a game changer. Download it. If you've done it all already and you're reading through it and you're like, done, tick, 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 and you've got an IBS diagnosis, absolutely amazing. At least it'll give you that certainty. But if you download it and you're like, I didn't ask that. I didn't talk about that. Sugar, I didn't cover that. Or maybe you can whiz back to your doctor and get it nipped properly the second time, if not the first time. Happy with that? All right, take care. All the best. Have a good weekend.